I've always been intrigued by the Offspring's third album, Smash, bro. It was ironically titled Smash because when it came out, it smashed all record sales at the time, especially being signed to underground boutique punk rock record label, Epitaph. And I always wanted to know what the drama was that made these two entities split. It seemed like a match made in heaven. You got this band, The Offspring, you got this label, Epitaph, and now a whole bunch of money is being generated. What could go wrong? Why did The Offspring release their fourth album, Ixnay on the Hombre, on Columbia Records, which is a major record label? And to be honest, I didn't know any of the intricacies of this drama because it went down in the 90s and I wasn't even 10 years old when this stuff happened. But recently I stumbled upon a letter that the lead singer Dexter wrote to his fans and sent it out using his mailing list back in the day. So I thought, if I haven't seen this letter yet, there must be a bunch of people on here that haven't seen this letter yet and would like a little bit of insight on this bygone drama. So let's dial it back to 1996 and talk about this drama that has long since been dead and buried, featuring The Offspring and Epitaph Records. My name is Dan Frampton. This is Punk News Now. Or I guess I'm gonna have to change the name. This is Punk News Then. Likes and subs. Let's go. Oh, it's the year 1996 right now, and I'm on my Windows 95 desktop personal computer right now. I'm dialed into AOL Online, and I'm releasing this video in a chat room. Maybe you guys should watch this in 64-bit for that truly authentic 1996 feel. So this is my first time logging into this Offspring chat room here on AOL.com, and I just wanted to share this letter that Dexter sent to me, and I'm wondering if he sent it to any of you guys as well. It seems like there's a lot of drama going on over there at Epitaph Records with The Offspring. Now, The Offspring are one of these cool, hot, new, fresh happening bands of the early 90s. So I gotta say, I was pretty shocked when I read the contents of this letter. So without any further ado, here we go. Quote, "Hey, a lot of people ask me what the deal is with us leaving Epitaph, so I thought I would post it here. Seems like a good place. We've gotten a lot of flack about leaving Epitaph, and a lot of that's because we tried to keep our mouths shut so this wouldn't turn into a press war. Unfortunately, Epitaph didn't do the same, so the only side anyone heard was theirs. Well, I'd like you guys to get our side of the story. Brett Gurewitz owns Epitaph. He's made our leaving the label very public and very nasty, and that's why we decided to defend ourselves, and that's why I'm writing now. We all really like the people at Epitaph and the bands on Epitaph, but we couldn't deal with Brett anymore. Brett's more concerned about making his label big than he is about helping his bands. That's basically what it's about and why we left. We tried to renegotiate with Brett to do more records on Epitaph starting last March because we wanted to stay on the label. We had been trying to stay on Epitaph all along actually. When Smash first started getting big in May of '94, Brett approached us and he said he wanted to sell the record to a major label in return for a royalty override on it. We convinced him not to do it. In July of '94, when the record started getting big in Europe, he approached us again about selling the record to a major label in Europe. Again, we had to beg him not to. We wanted to stay on Epitaph because they gave us our start, and we like to keep the same people. We have the same booking agent, same crew, etc. We didn't meet with any major labels, not one. Meanwhile, Brett met with all of them. Geffen, Capitol, Sony, you name it. He went there and he met with them. They wanted to buy Epitaph and he was listening. He told people that he wanted to be the next Richard Branson. Oh yeah, he met with Richard Branson too. It's important to a lot of the Epitaph bands to be on a label not associated with a major. When we confronted him about selling, he denied it. Finally though, last December, he admitted that he wanted to sell part of the company to quote unquote raise capital. We were concerned about Brett selling part of the company, but there were other things that bothered us too. Like we had decided early on to keep a low profile. We didn't do things like 120 Minutes or David Letterman or Saturday Night Live, although we coulda. But when we turned down an interview request, Brett would step up and do it himself, pumping his company. He even did interviews with Forbes magazine and Newsweek. We were trying to avoid being the poster boys for punk rock, and Brett wasn't helping. We felt if we turned something down, he shouldn't do it in our place. We negotiated for about a year, but couldn't get everything ironed out. It's true that he offered us a great advance and a great royalty rate, but the last contract he sent had some big problems for us. It said we couldn't do cover songs. It said Ron couldn't play in his other band. It said he could use our music on as many compilations as he wanted to. One version of the contract had a clause in it that allowed Brett to take out a life insurance policy on me so that if I died, he would profit. That's when I realized that this was all about money for him. He refused to negotiate any more last January, and a week later he decided to pull the whole offer. To keep it short, he eventually sold our contract to Columbia. We believed in sticking up for the indie label, but we shouldn't have. We stayed true to Epitaph while Brett met with every major label. Brett says publicly that major labels are bad, but of course, he was in Bad Religion and they signed to Atlantic. He wrote a lot of the songs on Stranger Than Fiction that came out on Atlantic. Also, Brett sued us and tried to force us to stay on his label. There is no indie spirit there anymore. We took less money to sign with Columbia. We had to sign for more records to go with Columbia. Our signing with Columbia was not to try to make more money. We did it because we won't record for somebody who thinks he can force us to. We will not record for a guy who's worse than a major label. We're gonna do whatever the fuck we want to. Well, there it is. You heard it first. Dexter. Dude, back then Dexter wasn't holding any punches. He let it all fly. He aired all of the dirty laundry and said, you know, Brett tried to make us sign all these weird ass contracts. He even took out a life insurance policy on me. But really the weirdest thing a part of this whole thing is like when the Offspring were asked to do interviews and stuff, that Brett would be like, oh, actually, I'll do it for you. You know, I'm in Bad Religion and own this label, right? I'll do the interview. I think that is so scummy. That is so weird. And I've seen a lot of comments saying, you know, Brett was really messed up back then. He was on all sorts of substances. He wasn't making good calls. Yeah, it certainly doesn't seem like he was. But to be fair, the Offspring and Brett have now made up since then. Everybody's on good speaking terms, at least now. But I don't know if they would be if the Offspring didn't find massive success afterwards. And that's just another huge what if in the annals of punk rock. What if the Offspring stayed on Epitaph? I think Ixnay on the Ombre still comes out, because it would have been like half written, if not fully written, by the time 1996 rolled around. But does Americana come out? Does Pretty Fly for a White Guy change everything for this band forever? That I don't think would happen. But of course, that is just reckless speculation on my behalf. So it's very weird that Brett would just step up and take those interview spots. It's super scummy how he's meeting with all these major labels behind their back. And it's just so weird to see the success of this record smash brought out the evil, greedy side of Brett Gurewitz and not so much the Offspring. They seem to be more like pushed into the corner over here. But the words in this letter really do paint Brett Gurewitz and Epitaph really poorly, paint them in such a bad light. So I couldn't really find any direct response to that from Brett or the shit that he talked to kind of incite any of that. But it's all kind of in subtext in like interviews and stuff, where Brett would go on and say things like, on a serious note, there's really nothing original on the new Offspring record. One song sounds like Jane's Addiction, one like Bon Jovi, one like Blind Melon, one like Bad Religion. They've become an unimaginative copycat band. But since all of that, I gotta reiterate, everybody kissed and made up and everybody's cool now. But that was the drama back in 1996. Whose side are you on? Are you team Brett? Are you team The Offspring? I wanna know. I'm not really a huge fan of The Offspring, and Epitaph as a label put out a lot of music that I really do care about. But if I'm looking at just the brass tacks of this drama, I gotta side with Dexter and The Offspring, I think. But what's your take? What do you think happens if Brett keeps it real? What's your what if scenario? Before we sign out of here, I just want to let you know that I've been doing live streams on this channel very regularly, and I would love to see it if you stop by. We listen to music, we watch live music, we take requests. It's just a good time. It would be a better time with more people, including yourself. So until my next live stream, goodbye, see you later, and have a good one.